A classic surf and turf, pairing tender steak with jumbo shrimp, is one of the most beloved, luxurious meals you can put on a plate. It's a culinary heavyweight packed with rich proteins. But cooking beef, shellfish, and butter together in a single skillet creates an incredibly dense concentration of fats and umami. This chart shows what happens to our taste receptors when we eat uninterrupted heavy fats and umami. Notice how the stimulation rapidly drops. This biological response is palate fatigue, where taste buds become overwhelmed. Without intervention, the chart flatlines. Your palate loses the ability to distinguish flavors, turning a luxury meal into a muddy, exhausting experience. To solve this problem, chefs engineer extreme chemical opposites right in the pan to break up the richness. True culinary mastery over heavy proteins requires building an architectural matrix of contrasting flavors, designed to continuously shock and reset the palate with every forkful. The first phase of this intervention starts the moment the seared steak and shrimp are removed to rest. They leave behind a skillet coated in residual rendered fats and butter, the perfect environment to drop in the vegetables. First into the pan are halved Brussels sprouts, followed later by chopped kale. These greens bring a dense nutritional profile, packed with high dietary fiber and vitamin K. More importantly, they introduce specific bitter flavor compounds. These fibrous greens act like a brush, physically scraping lingering heavy oils off the palate. That intense bitterness requires a counterweight. We build that by adding diced butternut squash and large cuts of red bell pepper. The squash and pepper deliver dense vitamin A alongside a natural earthy sweetness. As we can see on this flavor balance scale, the sweet markers pull directly against the bitter markers of the greens, perfectly neutralizing their sharp edges. Pairing these specific opposing vegetables creates a self-balancing base. It adds crucial nutritional density without overwhelming the resting meats. Next, we lay down a pungent, earthy baseline over those vegetables by stirring in sliced garlic, diced red onion, and fresh chopped thyme. Then comes the Fresno chili, sliced thin. This pepper introduces a highly specific chemical contribution, capsaicin. Taking a look at this cross-section of flavor layers, we see how capsaicin works. It spikes the palate, generating a sharp heat designed to pierce directly through the thick, lingering coats of olive oil and butter in the mouth. The climax happens when apple cider vinegar hits the skillet. Its high acidity acts like a solvent, washing over the palate, dissolving fractured fat particles and clearing the space. This acidity also brightens the heavy iron flavors in the steak and dark greens. To keep that acidity and heat in check, we apply a final counterweight, a spoonful of honey to immediately tame the harshness of the vinegar and the aggressive bite of the chili. The honey and vinegar bind together, forming a sweet and sour glaze that unifies all these disparate extreme elements into one cohesive coating. For the final assembly, the rested steak and shrimp are returned to the pan. The entire skillet gets a garnish of freshly grated Romano cheese and chopped parsley. The Romano anchors the dish with a necessary hit of salt and umami, while the parsley provides a final top note of herbal brightness. Served on the side or directly on top is a lemon pepper mayo. This sauce acts as a functional, microscopic version of the entire dish's flavor logic. Looking at this diagram of the mayo, we see it split into two halves. The mayonnaise itself provides a heavy fat base, but it instantly balances its own richness with the acid-heat counterweight, the sharp, acidic zest of a lemon and the biting heat of cracked black pepper. Elevating a heavy meal requires mastering this architectural balance of opposites. By layering sweet, sour, bitter, and heat, you perfectly counteract deep, savory fats, keeping the palate awake from the very first bite to the last.